of his eye. Sit right down, we're gonna give the scoop with Ryan Pfeiffer and Lisa Doop. Shamma-lamma ding-dong loop-de-loop. This is the story of a guy named Mr. Boop.
You're listening to Being Mr. Boop, soon to be a Charles Dickens podcast. My name is Ryan Pfeiffer and I am Mr. Boop.
My name is Lisa Doop and I am Mr. Boop.
Lisa, it's Friday, November 27th, 2020, and today we're reading the 200th ever Mr. Boop strip. What happens in today's Mr. Boop?
In today's Mr. Boop, a man is married to Betty Boop.
That sounds awfully familiar.
My mic quality is about to turn to shit. By the way, listeners, just because it's time travel reasons. What? Just making a reference to the.
Oh, I was gonna say, okay, maybe we shouldn't record this right now.
Has this been redrawn at all? By the way,
yes,
is this just copy
absolutely.
pasted?
So,
Yeah.
no, all right, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay, I'm just.
Panel 1.
I haven't.
Alec, our protagonist Alec, who we're being introduced. By the way, okay, 4 panels. Mr. Boop, not Mr. Boop.
Back to Mr. Boop. Well, I mean,
Mr. Boop.
He's married to
Because
Betty
he's
Boop.
married to a woman. He's married to a woman named Betty Boop.
Betty
Well,
Boop. Not the famous one.
not the famous one.
Legally distinct, so you can't sue. Something.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have Adam make an alternate theme song for this one.
Yeah.
By next Friday.
Yeah. Cat scratch. We got something for you.
Remember that new Mr. Boop theme song you were looking for? Well, listen to this. Oh, this is interesting. So, whatever. We don't even need to describe this one. It's the first Mr. Boop strip. All right. Spoiler alert. It's the first Mr. Boop strip. Let's instead of taking this time to describe this strip again, because it's literally the first Mr. Boop strip again.
I mean, it's the same, but it's interesting how it's redrawn.
I know. Hang on. Let me finish. Let's take the time to say what's different.
Yes.
What's different from the first strip. To summarize, because we do need to summarize real quick.
Yeah.
4 panels. Panel 1, Alec is it's just him. He's got his hands on his face, 3 heart flies above his head, and he's thinking, my wife Betty Boop is really hot. Panel 2 cuts to Betty doing a little pose, and she's thinking, when I look at my husband, I get butterflies in my tummy. And she's grinning. They're both grinning in both panels. Panel 3, Alec is looking over at Betty and doing a wife face. They both have heart flies above their head. He's thinking, I'm so lucky I'm married to Betty Boop. And she's thinking, I'm in love. 2 electro points. Panel 4, close up of Alec, even closer than the first panel. He's raising one of his eyebrows and doing a white face, and he's thinking, I've gotta tell the guys at work about this. 2 electro points. Gotta is in all caps.
Now, immediately, I think this is a much more appealing to look at than the first strip, you know? Like the art style. I feel like he's improved even beyond what we see in book 3.
I think the thing that sticks out the most is Betty's design, which is completely different than it was in the previous strip. Her face is now the face of the Mr. Boop character, Betty Boop, but she does not look like Betty Boop from strip 1 of Mr. Boop, which was designed to look like the cartoon star Betty Boop. Slowly over time morphed into his own version of that design, which is what she looks like in this strip. But she does not look like Liz, and she does not look like Betty Boop from the cartoons and strip 1. She looks like Alex Betty Boop.
This is a pretty shocking panel to flip to, you know, from the last one. To go to this panel from the last one is pretty like, you know what I mean? It creates a big effect.
Yeah, they both look like the cartoon Mr. Roop designs. They don't look real at all anymore. It's completely flipped. The switch has been flipped. And the expressions are more exaggerated than in the first strip. Let me look at them exactly side by side.
Yes, I have been doing that. The Alec has also been slightly redesigned. He no longer has any Muppet noses.
He doesn't have the Muppet nose he had in strip 1. His hair is more exaggerated and poofy and less greasy looking.
This one, Panel 1 does a better job. I mean, strip 1 does a better job of show this to someone and be like, hey, look, this guy's married to Betty Boop, and they instantly recognize it. But this is more like, well, these are the characters I've spent 200 strips looking at.
This is the strip 1 redrawn as Mr. Roop TM. Whereas the first strip is like, what if a guy was married to Betty Boop? This strip 200.
I think it would go a little something like this.
And this strip 200 is the Mr. Roop cover of strip 1.
It's the album version of the hit single.
It's a classic artist redraw. But
Yes.
even though this strip is a showcase of how he's found the style for the strip, it also seems more rushed in a way.
Oh, I didn't think that. He's learned the shorthand of his art style more so.
Maybe. Betty's earring in panel 3. So her earrings in general, I guess because her hair goes down longer than it did in strip 1, her earrings are hanging off the hair and go past her shoulders, which they did not in strip 1. And so in panel 3, her shoulder line goes through the earring, which is a mistake. And in panel 1, Alec's elbow line, in strip 1, his elbows went over the panel, and which, I didn't notice, it's actually not colored in all the way, because it's colored in the background. The strip, the panel background color is slightly off-white, and it's only colored in as much as the panel square is. So when his elbow is a little bit going over the panel, the little bit of his elbow that's going over the panel is not colored in. That's in strip 1. I didn't notice. And it's also true of this strip, but the borderline of the panel is going over his shoulder. I mean, his elbow. Which it was not in the first strip. So that's another mistake, like with her shoulder in panel 3. It's completely redrawn, so the hands are a little bit different, but I don't know if that's really a style change. His expressions are more exaggerated, kind of to a creepy extent. Especially in panel 1, because his smile is so pointy. Also, Betty's expression in panel 2 is completely different because she's grinning. She has a toothy grin, which she does not.
In panel 1, he's doing like stock Betty Boop pose. I mean, in strip 1. In strip
1, yeah.
You're fucking with my mind by describing panels so much.
She is. How do I say this? Her physique is different, more exaggerated. Can you tell the audience what I'm talking about?
What do you mean? Yeah, her. Well, I guess she's more curvy than she is in the original. She's like, I feel like she's what do you call it? There's more of a. I think there's a better sense of anatomy in strip 200 versus strip 1, with the way that Betty is drawn.
I disagree that it's better. I think it's just a different way of doing it.
I see.
I mean, her hands in panel 2 look better in strip 200. I will say that. But actually, all their hands do look slightly better.
But I think that also like the thickness to her body is more accurate.
No, I don't know. I think that's just the character design is different. I don't think it's rendered better. I think it's just the design is different.
The way that the thinness of her certain body parts in strip 1, they look it's off. It's weird and not really. I don't find it comfortable to look at. But now since she's got a little more like meat on her,
I feel like that's how Betty Boop looks.
Yeah, well, that
if
is.
You
how
Google Betty Boop, it looks like that usually. She looks like she does in panel 1. She looks. Her body looks like less like it does in panel 2.
Mm.
In fact, even the ruffles of her dress it's like he was looking directly at. In fact, he was. If you Google Betty Boop, the first image that comes up is pretty much the exact thing he drew for strip 1. Whereas for strip 200, it's like he was copying what he drew in strip 1. He wasn't copying the Betty Boop drawing. He was copying his drawing in strip 1.
And thus, from which originality occurs, a copy of a copy. Combination of two ideas to form a new.
I suppose. But her dress has more ruffles as well.
I prefer this art style over to what we see even in book 3.
Is this not pretty much what we see in book 3?
No, the book 3 is like, it's still a little rougher than this. This is like the art style of someone who, like, I don't know. I feel like the way that he's forcing himself to be realistic has made him improve in these subtle ways for his cartoony way.
I think I would assume he spent a lot more time on this one because it's such an important strip. It is strip 200 and he's redrawing strip 1, so it's a very important strip. But at the same time, I don't think those mistakes were intentional, where his elbow is going over the panel. So I don't think that was intentional.
It's more just like, yeah, whatever, leave it in. The 200 in. I'm not going to stop because of a...
I think he didn't notice.
Oh. Either way, we should message him. Hey, Alec, did you notice the arm is off? Huh?
His grin in panel 4 is kind of weirdly like crooked. These are the most.
I prefer that.
These are the most creepily exaggerated. I know I kind of touched on this already, but these really are the most creepily exaggerated wife faces we've seen so far. He's doing the wife face in every panel. And they're in panel 2, especially his like grin is almost going off of his face. It's creepypasta-esque, I would say.
Well, would you describe this whole thing's creepypasta-esque, if you will?
You think so? Oh, I get. I'm looking back at volume 3, and I guess this is like a bit more.
Yeah.
Whatever. Her hair is less thin.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe that's just.
Yeah. I think his hair is. I really prefer this version of his hair. It's
from strip 1.
Yeah, from strip 1. It's got more. I don't know. I guess I just prefer the way that.
I think he looks particularly weird in panel 1, but
yeah, I think that just the way that everything in the first one is so thin. Like, I don't know, it's difficult to describe, but everything is like so thin and weedy. Like in the way it's drawn. It's sort of like the CalArts style version of number 1,
Well, it's interesting because his smile in panel 1 is actually, but it is a bit more. Wait, which one are you saying is more CalArtsy?
The strip 200. Well, no, I wouldn't say specifically Cal. I'm saying like this is the.
Well, it's just interesting because his smiles in strip 1 are actually more like the CalArts smile.
But Betty's
than panel 200.
Betty's in 200 is more than it.
Yes, because she's not smiling at all in that way in strip 1.
But it's drawn in the way of like a softcore reboot that people in animation forums are afraid of. Yeah, soft. I guess soft reboot. I don't.
It's just soft reboot. It's
Yeah,
not soft core.
reboot.
Um,
Alex hair also doesn't look like this in book 3, right? It looks more like this, but I don't know. But in most of book 3, he's got his rugged art style, rugged hair.
It's got less lines in it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm also looking at the part of book 3 where his hair is all messed up. So.
Yeah, exactly. But that's most of book 3. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is kind of. I mean, I guess his hair here is kind of a mix of how it was in book 3 and in like the beginning, because there's more lines in it and stuff.
Bugs Bunny killed Jeff Bezos. Do you think Jeff Bezos is dead in this universe?
Did he actually kill him, or did it just cut to black?
Yeah, I mean, it cut. Well, I mean, presumably.
So we don't
he was
know.
shot.
It's very unclear. Like, I feel like this is one of those situations where, in like comics or a TV show, where, we're kind of back to status quo, but like through a convoluted way where it's like we're not really in the place where we were, but we're just at a recreation of it, basically. You know what I mean?
This actually reminds me of a point I brought up on the week you weren't here, that this sort of resembles how fan artists take their work and, you know, change it to be like legally distinct when they make it an official thing. You know, it's no longer Mr. Boop with the famous Benny.
Wait, I can't remember. Did you guys mention that Harry Styles movie?
Yeah. We
That
did.
looks awful.
I never saw it, but I never.
I mean,
heard of it
the
before
just
she
the fact
mentioned
that they
it.
made a movie based on a fan fiction about a real person is very creepy.
Yeah. But yeah, yeah. I feel like there's something to that, but I'm not too sure how to develop if it can be analyzed that far. I think
We don't have to.
Yeah.
So you can just the audience can do the work.
Audience, why don't you analyze Mr. Boop?
Yeah, analyze that. I'm gonna add that as a tagline. Tagline. It's interesting. It's an interesting contrast that in the previous strip 199, he was still in the like Alec Robbins drawn realistically like style. It's like he's supposed to look like the actual Alec Robbins, or he's supposed to look more like the actual Alec Robbins. Which he did in panel in strip 1 as well. He's supposed to look a little bit more like the actual Alec Robbins, I would say, than he does in strip 200. So it's like
it's like a weird mishmash, a little. You know, not a weird mishmash, but you know.
Well, it's like we look back to strip 1, he looks more like Alec Robbins. We look back to the previous strip, he looks more like Alec Robbins, but in a completely different way. Because he's supposed to look realistic. But in strip 1, he's supposed to look like a cartoon of Alec Robbins, but like one that looks more like actual Alec Robbins.
We have 2 synopses for this. We have a primary synopsis on the
Twitter.
Oh
yeah, primary synopsis. Yeah. Fuck, I forgot to read it. Mr. Boop number 200, thank you for sticking through 200 ships with me and letting me share my very real, important story. But we're not quite done yet. See you Monday, smiley face.
And the Patreon description reads, in the last episode of Mighty Max, Max fails to defeat the big bad guy, so the owl sends him back in time to episode 1 to start it all over again. Mr. Boop is not over yet, but almost. Hitting 200 feels insane. Thank you especially to all of you on the Patreon. I can't express how much I appreciate your support. I know this comic looks stupid and crass from the outside, and I'm not going to try too hard to claim otherwise, but I'm putting a lot into it and swinging as big as I can before it runs its course, which is very soon.
So he did put a lot into this strip, though.
Final Mr. Boop will land on January 1st, 2021, and then we kiss this fucker goodbye. But stick around, I've got more bullshit coming.
I assume Mighty Max is Max Fleischer.
I assume
it's not.
I thought
it's a real character.
Yeah, Mighty Max seems like a real character. That's what I.
So I guess this was inspired by that. Oh, it's a British thing. How about that? No, it's not. What? It's based on a British thing.
Huh.
It's an American cartoon based on a British toy line.
Huh.
Okay. I guess this was maybe inspired by that, or he just thought of the comparison afterwards.
Well, I mean,
I have to go watch all Mighty Max too.
If he was aware of it, it probably was at least subconsciously, like in his in his mind of tropes or a combination.
Well, I'm not sure how similar it actually is.
Yeah.
What did he say happened in Mighty Max again?
Max fails to defeat the big bad guy Owl, so the Owl sends him back in time to episode 1 to start over again.
But is that like a permanent change within Mighty Max, or is that like?
Well, I mean, Mighty Max. How many episodes was that?
Yeah, were there 200 episodes of Mighty Max?
There were 40 episodes of Mighty Max.
So what the fuck?
That's more than I expected, to be honest.
It's not 200. So when did that? Maybe it happened in the season 2 finale.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know. Well, looks like we're gonna have to start over. Next week.
I'll get my bad mic again. Don't worry.
Me too. Wait, did I have a bad mic? No, I didn't. I actually.
Your mic was
I had
fine.
the same mic. No, but I had this same mic. As opposed, like I used to have the Blue Snowball, which is not a bad mic, but it's not as good.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I didn't when we started.
What have you been listening to?
We've been listening to Being Mr. Boop. Analyze that. You can visit the show's website at www.beingmrboop.com for a full catalog of episodes and to sign up to host the podcast. No, you can't. Wait a second.
No. Wait, no, there's one slot. One slot left. Yes.
Did someone... Oh, yeah. The last slot is left. If you want to... Hey, make it quick. If you want to host, there's only one slot left available.
Last slot.
For more updates, follow at Mr. Boop Pod on Twitter, where you can follow me at Candyman106 and at Semi-Sweet Stuffs for everything else I make. Lisa, where do you use your Twitter?
Lisa Doop 2. Yeah, Pobbe.
Lisa Doop 2!
Woo!
Thank you and good night.
Thank you and good night.
This podcast was brought to you by the Pitch Drop Podcast Network. Like what you just heard? Support the show by going to patreon.com/pitchdrop. And while you're at it, check out pitchdrop.net for more of this and other shows.